Jai Hind everyone. So you all are welcome in Cadet Coffee Times with ANO Preeti SwamiI. दोस्तों आज जो हमारा ये एपिसोड है वो थोड़ा सा हटकर है क्योंकि जिस एमिनेंट पर्सनालिटी से आज हम आपको मिलवा रहे हैं उनकी अचीवमेंट्स, उनके सक्सेस, उनके फेलियर्स को हम आपकी लाइफ के साथ एक्चुअली जोड़ेंगे और तो और जो बच्चों के पॉइंट्स हैं, जो कैडेट्स के या स्टूडेंट्स के छोटे छोटे माइन्यूट क्वेश्चंस होते हैं जो आज के ट्रेंड के हिसाब से हैं, उसको लेके आए हैं हमारे बीच में कैडेट मायरा, जो 2020 बैच की एनसीसी लेवल बिल की कामल कॉन्वेंट स्कूल की कैडेट है और वो अपने छोटे छोटे क्वेश्चंस को सर के साथ शेयर करेंगे।
Today we have with us Col Ajaydeep Singh, qualified combat helicopter aviator, who was in Army for 25 years and served various military operation areas of the nation, including the world's highest battlefield, the Siachen Glacier. He joined IMA in 1996 and soon got opportunity to participate in Operation Vijay, Kargil War in 1999 and Operation Parakaram, post-Parliament attack 2001 along with his unit. As an alumnus of IIM Indore, he has transformed HR practices with many organizations and inspired countless HR professionals to elevate their own roles and responsibilities. As an engaged orator, he has shared his knowledge on many forums including TED Talks, IIM Mumbai, Lucknow, Indore. He has also mentored startups as a part of Startup Mission Punjab. Sir, we welcome you in our studio today.
So it's been an honor to speak to you today. A question that arises in my mind is that you've had such an intense military background, and from that then you moved to HR and working in HR and just non-military jobs. So have you ever had a moment या ऐसा कोई आपको आपकी choice जो आपको बनानी हो life में जिसमें आपको लगा हो कि ये दोनों jobs एक दूसरे को बहुत complement करती हैं?
Okay.
Absolutely. The armed forces are the oldest HR organization in the world.
Okay.
The rules or the ethos by which any corporate functions today was actually already prevalent at least 100 to 200 years ago in the armed forces.
Okay.
Whether it is what we call talent acquisition today, is known as recruitment in the armed forces. Training, we have a lot of rigorous training. Employee retention, because the armed forces needs a lot of retention, and motivation, to be able to motivate an employee or armed forces personnel to go through fire at the peril of his or her life is the biggest example of what motivation can do.
Yes.
So all these ethos have actually come from the armed forces into the corporate today.
Okay.
So at every step, you can actually draw lessons from the armed forces, and I have been doing exactly that over the last few months, where I have transitioned from the military to corporate.
Okay, so I think you got your answer that it has been related. It's not that this profession is something different or this is
I think it draws from the same
Yes,
thing.
it actually are linked together. So we know that you have worked in corporate also and previously as a combat also. So there was a risk factor must be in both the cases. रिस्क आता है, रिस्क के बहुत सारे रीजंस होते हैं. सो डू यू वांट टू शेयर सम ऑफ इट दैट बीइंग देयर एट अ कॉम्बैट एरिया और नाउ एज अ दिस वन कॉर्पोरेट लीडरशिप, तो वो दोनों में कैसा है, वो रिस्क फैक्टर बराबर है, सेम है या कुछ अप एंड डाउन है?
See, the risk remains pertaining to the organizational goals.
Correct, sir.
While the military, when I say the military, it includes all the three forces.
Yes, sir.
While the military goals are slightly stringent,
Okay.
and they include the cost of a nation.
Yes, sir.
Whereas in the corporate, the cost is either financial
Correct.
or reputational of that particular firm or
Yes.
organization.
Yes, sir.
So a military risk does have a larger bearing, right? And for example, when we go to war, it is a nation which goes to war.
Correct, sir.
So it is the entire nation's effort.
Yes, sir.
It is not just the Indian army going to war, it is India going to war.
Yes. Yes.
So there is a certain much wider scope, I would say,
Yes,
when
sir.
it comes to the risk in terms of military.
Yes, sir.
vis-a-vis that of a corporate.
Yes, sir.
However, at the micro level, it may seem equally important for the employees, a person who's fighting on ground,
Yes, sir.
and a person who's an employee of an organization.
Correct.
For them, it is the organization's flag which has to be kept flying higher
Yes.
at all times.
Very true.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So, yes,
again.
the risk is there in both the things, but here the risks are more in terms of loss of life.
Correct.
In the corporate, you don't see loss of life.
Correct.
And it is also the nation's aspirations which are at stake here.
Correct. And those who are listening and watching us, I just wanted to pass on one message to the youngsters कि जैसे सर ने बताया कि वहाँ पे आर्मी में कुछ और तरीके से है, यहाँ पे कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में कुछ और तरीके से, और जो हमें सुन रहे हैं जो बच्चे हैं, उन बच्चों के लिए एक छोटा सा पैगाम यही होगा कि आपकी लाइफ में भी रिस्क के अलग अलग पहलू हो सकते हैं या अलग अलग लेवल हो सकते हैं. अभी यू माइट बी इन क्लास 8 और 9, तो रिस्क का पहलू कुछ और होगा. इफ यू आर इन कॉलेज इट मस्ट बी समथिंग एल्स, और इफ यू आर इन जॉब और यू आर लुकिंग फॉर जॉब इज समथिंग एल्स. बट उसको समझना, उसको मेरे को लगता है कॉन्फिडेंटली लेना सर, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो मेरे को लगता है आप भी यही सोचते होंगे जो हमें ये मैसेज उन स्टूडेंट्स को भी देना चाहिए.
Even I would like to add on to what you said.
Yes, sir.
For a class 8th or 9th student, the
Yes,
risk
sir.
may be losing a friend today.
Correct, very true.
Or faring poorly in a particular subject,
Yes, sir.
or
Yes, sir.
not being able to play a certain sport
Correct.
if you are interested, or some activity,
Correct,
to be able to take part. But I just want to let you know that these risks do not stay with time. They with the passage of time, these risks also move on, and you have
Yes.
some new risks coming over.
Correct.
Like a nation is not forever in war.
Yes, yes.
आज अगर लड़ाई कर रही है 10 दिन, 15 दिन, 1 महीना, 2 महीना, it can't continue for 50 years or
Yes.
100 years, right? So the risks change,
Yes, sir.
and with passage of time, it is all dynamic.
Yes,
You
sir.
have to stay steady, and
Yes.
as long as you hold on to whatever values you have,
Yes, sir.
you will be able to combat those risks.
Correct. And sir कहते हैं ना, time is a good healer. This one risk they make you experienced. तो
Yeah.
जब वो क्लास 8 का स्टूडेंट जब वो 9th में आता है तो कहता है वो क्लास 8 में तो कुछ भी नहीं था.
कुछ भी नहीं
ये तो मैं
था.
कर ही सकता था. Yes, Myra.
So risk आपने बात हुई है ना, so that brings me to a point that from what I know about you, you've served at the Siachen Glacier as well, right?
Yes.
And that's known as the highest battlefield
In the world, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So how did the environment there and the harsh conditions there, how did that affect your आपकी decision making और आपकी resilience को उसने कैसे affect किया है
Correct.
उस environment ने?
Very rightly chosen, Myra. The world's highest battlefield. The enemy comes later, the weather comes first.
Yeah.
Yes, very true, sir.
If you can battle the weather, only then will you be able to reach till the enemy.
Correct.
Yeah.
So their leadership is actually put to a real test, because there you are looking after not just yourself but your team as well in the same way, and you have to, I mean, you do that everywhere else, but here it even the slightest of mistake or an error in judgment can lead to instant results
Yeah.
which either harm your team or you.
Correct.
And Siachen is something which is actually more about the human spirit.
Yes.
The extreme weather, the trying conditions, the various factors of lack of oxygen, and the tasks and missions on hand,
Yes, sir.
they all actually are being achieved so wonderfully by our armed forces only because of that human spirit.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So as a leader, you have to be able to trust everyone.
Yes, sir.
You have to be extremely confident. Even in the most trying of times, you have to be sure
Yes,
of
sir.
what you are doing.
Yes.
And you have to be very certain of your team, and let them also know that you are there for them at all times.
Yes, sir. Very true.
So
Yes.
Siachen actually does change the way you look at life
Yeah.
Yes,
once you return from there.
But sir, my question to you related to Siachen is कि वो जो इतना एक्सट्रीम जगह पे जाना, वो डिसीजन लेना, सो कभी कभी लगता नहीं मन में कि कहाँ पहुँच गए, या वाई ओनली मी? क्योंकि आज की जनरेशन के लिए मेरे को लगता है क्वेश्चन होता है, बिकॉज व्हेनेवर एनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज बीन गिवन टू देम, वो कहते हैं व्हाई मी, हाउ कम यू से दैट आई एम फ्री, मेरे को ही क्यों चूज किया, या मैं ही क्यों करूँ? तो ऐसा उस समय या ऐसे बातें आती है दिमाग में?
Why only me तो कभी नहीं आया, because in the forces we are very motivated for
Yes.
our task at hand,
Very true.
and in fact we consider it a privilege to go to Siachen, to be
Yes,
part of the elite people
Yes.
who have served at the glacier.
Correct.
So that never comes in our mind. In fact, we
Okay.
are raring to go, and
Yes,
if you are younger, you're even full of josh.
Yes,
So that is not an issue. But yes, when you are there, there are times when self-doubt does tend to creep in.
Yes.
Because it is the entire environment over there is taking a toll on your physical and mental health also.
Correct.
And as a leader, as I just said, it's the human spirit. You have to really pull yourself every day. The temperature does not spare you. The high velocity winds don't spare you. Lack of oxygen does not spare you. And because you are operating in small teams over there, it's just like 2 or 3 or 4 people.
Yes, sir.
You are doing the same tasks which your team are doing.
Yes.
There is absolutely no disparity. You have to go for those patrols. You have to collect your own rations from wherever they have been dropped or
Yes.
whatever. And these things actually sometimes make you feel slightly, in a way that you feel that maybe I'm not being a good leader.
Oh.
Because you want to do so much more, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen.
Yes.
But then once you pull yourself together and you realize that, okay, given these circumstances, I'm really doing the best that I can. And you are taking logical decisions, you are meeting all objectives, you are keeping your team safe.
Yes, sir.
And in a high morale to be able to fight, where walking is difficult, fighting is extremely difficult.
Yes, sir.
So if you are able to achieve that, I think it does feel good at the end of the day.
Yes, very true. And this is a message for all our listeners and viewers, especially to the youngsters, कि देखिए यही चीज आप अपनी लाइफ से रिलेट कीजिए कि हमारे पास भी मौका होता है। जब सर्दी होती है तो कहते हैं वो बहुत ठंड हो गई है, क्यों रजाई से निकले, क्यों वॉक करने जाए, क्यों पढ़ाई करें, और जब गर्मी होती है तो इतनी गर्मी हो रही है कि क्यों खेलने जाए, है ना। बट अगर हम सर के इस लाइव एग्जाम्पल से थोड़ा सा सीख लें कि जब कुछ चीज डिसाइड कर ली है ना तो बस फिर तो पीछे नहीं हटना है। तो ये लेसन आप लोगों के लिए आई होप यू विल टेक अवे फ्रॉम इट। Yes, Myra.
So you've had such good advice to give and such good things to talk about. जैसे आपका ये है that you mentor a lot of people and you've spoken at very prestigious institutions. तो आपके experience के हिसाब से ऐसी कौन सी quality है या what is one attribute that you think the youth of today needs to have, because the world that we're in is a very fast-paced world right now. तो ऐसी कौन सी एक क्वालिटी है या ऐसा कौन सा एट्रीब्यूट है जो आपको लगता है कि एक यूथ में सबके पास होना चाहिए?
If I talk of just one attribute, I'll take it from what you just asked in part of your question, is that it's a very fast-paced world.
Yes.
So we are the ones who are setting the pace, we humans, when I say, right? So everybody needs a bit of time to understand things, or to be able to reach a point in time wherein they can take control of things. So if you ask me one quality, I would say perseverance.
All right.
Because itna kuch ho raha hai, so many developments, so many innovations, so many breakthroughs in technology, that it's very easy to get lost in this tech humdrum which is happening around us.
Yes, sir.
So you need to just take a step back and think, does everything affect me? And if actually something does affect you, then get going about that part only, or that point only, and once you are comfortable with that, then move on to the next step, and not get overawed or overwhelmed by the fast-paced world.
So we also know that you are a engaged orator. और जब आप जाते हैं वहाँ पे कहीं पे भी आप सेशंस में हैं, वर्कशॉप्स में हैं, तो कोई एक ऐसा मैसेज जो आपको लगता हो कि मैं इस वाले क्राउड को दे देता हूँ, which was in the beginning of my career I would have selected it, कि जो मुझे बहुत लास्ट में अब समझ में आया है, या यूँ कहें कि क्रक्स ऑफ द स्टोरी लाइफ की अब समझ में आई है, तो ऐसा कुछ है इंसिडेंट ऐसा जो आपको लगता है कि आई हैव लर्न, I just wanted to throw it out to the audience and it will help them in moving ahead in their journey.
Yes, there is just one message which I keep harping upon,
Yes, sir.
and that is the power or the ability to effectively communicate with others.
Yes.
The world is as it is, looking inwards.
Correct, sir.
Everybody is looking inwards towards their mobiles. They don't want to talk to another person.
Very
They don't
true.
want to reach out to people. We've all seen that. And
Correct, sir.
जैसे हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग कहते थे,
Correct.
पहले वो कम्युनिटी वाली फीलिंग थी, गांव वाली फीलिंग थी. अभी तो मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर नॉट इवन अवेयर ऑफ आवर नेबर्स
Correct.
कि क्या हो रहा है. एंड घर के अंदर भी जो मेंबर्स होते हैं, दे आर बिजी इन देयर ओन life. So effective communication is very important, whether at home or outside at your workplace or in your school. A lot of ego hassles get sorted out by that.
Correct.
And effective communication also involves listening
Yes.
to the person, to be able to demonstrate empathy towards that person and actually understanding the viewpoint of the next person.
Correct. Correct.
So I think this is one thing which has a lot of ramifications. My message whenever I go for a interaction, I call it an interaction. I don't call it a talk.
Okay.
Whenever I go for an interaction, my aim is to generate positivity.
Okay. Yes.
The crowd must feel positive about something to look forward to.
Yes, sir.
Some hope, some passion must be ignited in them.
Correct.
That is my aim every time I go to interact with somebody. So when you start communicating, automatically your passion also gets ignited, and you do feel positive about the whole experience.
Very good. And I just wanted to add up one thing for the youngsters कि आप सोच रहे होंगे कि एक सर्वे इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन की बात करिए बड़ा मुश्किल है. नहीं दोस्तों, मुश्किल नहीं है. आपको पता होता है कि मम्मी पापा के साथ कब कौन सी बात करनी है, किस लेवल पे करनी है, क्या टाइम राइट है उसके लिए, वो हम सब जानते हैं. बट अब हम वो सेल्फिश मोटिव से निकल कर हम रोज कम्युनिकेट करें, जो भी हमारे मेंबर्स हैं उनके पास जाए, ना कि व्हाट्सएप पे पूछे मम्मी आज दाल कौन सी बनी है. सो मूव आउट ऑफ इट. और सर जैसे कह रहे हैं कि ये बहुत ज़्यादा आपको हेल्प करेगा और आपकी बॉन्डिंग को और स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाएगा. यस मैडम.
So, following on that point, you stand for workplace equality and diversity and inclusion. So, how do you envision all of these in the future, especially when technology की बात आती है? How do you think कि technology plays a role in the teamwork that is there in a workplace, in the togetherness of a workplace? Do you think in the future technology की कोई इसमें कोई role होगा technology का?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's known as DEI in the workplace, that is diversity, equality, and
Yeah.
inclusion.
Yes, sir.
I think that's what you're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to aim at. So DEI today is more than just a buzzword.
Yeah.
It's actually happening with the world shrinking. Today you have employees of one company sitting
Yeah.
all over the world.
Correct.
Across the globe. Even if you are an Indian but you are probably taking a holiday and you want to take a day to reach out to your teammates or somebody in your organization, it's possible. And that way this is probably one of the only things which is a blessing from the COVID era.
Yes.
That we've
Yes.
we've realized that we can work not just
Together,
sitting in
yes.
office, and we
Yeah.
can actually work from anywhere, anytime. So DEI is absolutely the way forward.
Yeah.
And if you actually include technology into DEI, it does help out, especially the HR professionals or the leadership, because one, it instantly removes biases.
Yeah.
Right. So otherwise, earlier on, there are a lot of personal biases in workplace which float around. But with tech being the path to choose your employees or your team,
Yes.
so these things get removed. Also, it does bring about a certain amount of objectivity.
Yes.
And because you are selecting talent on the basis of their qualifications, you are actually able to bring together a more productive team.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Correct.
technology is the way ahead for the workplace. DEI, yes, has to be there, because today a company does not say कि मेरे को इस जगह का employee चाहिए. They say I want the best employee.
Yes, sir.
So that best employee could be sitting anywhere on
Anywhere,
the
yes.
planet Earth, and
Bilkul.
it could be.
Sir, in NCC there is a saying that once a cadet is always a cadet. So same thing I wanted to ask you is that you have served in army also.
Yeah.
So what were the qualities you have taken which you are actually like, ये कहते हैं ना, एक वो आदत सी बन जाती है कि हमने इतना टाइम सर्व किया, 25 years यू हैव सर्व इन आर्मी, सो वो कुछ हैबिट्स जो बन जाती हैं वो आगे भी आपको और किसी भी प्रोफेशन में हम जाते हैं तो उसमें भी हेल्प करती है। सो कोई ऐसी बात है या हैबिट्स है जो आप शेयर कर सकते हैं जो एक्चुअली हमारे कैडेट्स को भी ये इन्फॉर्मेशन मिले कि जो चीज़ आप एनसीसी में भी सीख रहे हो ना, सो इट्स नॉट लाइक यू हैव टू जॉइन द आर्म फोर्सेज ओनली, आप कहीं भी किसी प्रोफेशन में जाओगे तो वो क्वालिटीज आपके साथ जाएंगी। तो ऐसी कोई क्वालिटीज।
So you are right when you said once a cadet, always a cadet. I was also an NCC cadet.
Oh, okay, that's right, sir.
In college, and
Okay.
I also did my share of annual training camps and
wow. Okay.
stuff like that. But yes, NCC lays down the foundation of a disciplined life.
Correct, sir.
If you actually imbibe the values of the National Cadet Corps,
Yes, sir.
these are lifestyle values.
Correct.
This is not pertaining to just the uniform
Yes.
or anything. These are the ethos that you can live by in any organization.
Yes.
You know, showing respect towards basic discipline,
Yes, sir.
towards your turnout. Even if I'm turned out like this today,
Yes.
in a non-uniform,
Yes,
but wearing clothes which are actually not shabbily dressed, as they would
Yes, sir.
say, right? Reaching on time and showing fairness and justness. In the army, our religion is defined by our troops' religion.
Correct. Very true.
I am from a Tambi Paltan.
Achha,
So
okay.
I used to be there every Tuesday for my mandir parade and saying Swami Sharanam with my troops,
Yes.
and doing the aarti and
Yes.
whatever else was required, celebrating Pongal also, Onam also,
Yes.
Ugadi also, everything I used to do it.
Correct.
So it's a great equalizer,
Yes.
right? Being a Sardar in a
Yes.
unit full of people from the south, all 4 states, now 5 states,
Yes.
the Telangana as well.
Okay.
So it does, these values hold you good across all your corporate experiences. It's actually, we say the army is a way of life.
Correct, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So that is how, once you've imbibed all those
those
values,
things, yes.
they
It
hold
goes
you good
inside.
everywhere. It's
Yes,
not
yes.
just this thing.
So this can be the message for the youngsters also. If you have imbibed something, if it's related to your school uniform also, doesn't mean that you have to wear the proper other uniform you're talking about. Whatever you're wearing it, wear it gracefully, be on time, be punctual. Then actually you're living to your expectations. Yes, madam.
So अब startups की बात पे आते हैं कि you've had your fair share of work with startups in Punjab and you've helped and served for a lot of startups. और इस globally changing economy में what do you think is a challenge from a startup point of view, from an entrepreneur's point of view?
Yes.
कि इतनी economy change हो रही है.
Economically, if we say, one, the funding issue is always there for startups, because in India, I would say that the startup market, although has started some years ago, and it's still picking up, but there is so much of competition between various startups trying to be a unicorn, or aajkal they say we want to be a cockroach startup. That's a new terminology, because a cockroach is much stronger than a unicorn. It can survive a nuclear holocaust.
Yes.
So that is how they say that is the
Okay.
new buzzword in entrepreneurship. So they are all competing with each other for funds, and obviously funds will be limited. They will never be available. So funding is the basic point for this thing. Also, I feel our government is still trying to regulate the environment, because they are also learning. I mean, the government is also trying to make it safe for everybody to grow and create an environment where all these startups can really be given a fair deal of space under the sun. So the government regulations today, while some do get a lot of benefits,
Yes, sir.
others do face a bit of regulatory hurdles
Yes, sir.
in getting to that. So in India, these are the two things which economically, if you are
Yes, sir.
asking that, the regulations are still complex, and there are still a lot of bureaucratic issues which sometimes people face to be able to move ahead.
But sir, since most of the youngsters must be watching and they must be curious to know कि अगर बेबी स्टेप पूछा जाए स्टार्टअप का, तो क्या होता है वो बेबी स्टेप? कैसे हम एक अगर किसी बच्चे में पैशन हो करने का, तो व्हाट इज अ बेबी स्टेप द पर्सन शुड टेक?
So passion is the first thing which
Correct,
you already brought out.
Yes, sir.
Once you have that seed in your mind,
Correct.
we need to actually find out what is the need of that idea in the market.
Okay, correct. Okay,
Does the market actually need
that thing.
some
Yeah.
generally it's a solution to a problem, something which a person notices that these processes can be smoothened out or
Correct.
made shorter, or a product which actually just skips past a lot of other steps and gets straight to the point.
Correct.
So these are the things, and once that seed germinates further and goes on to become a viable product, MVP as we say, that is the time when things like funding and other things start
Yeah.
coming up.
And for startups, so suppose her idea, suppose Myra's idea was working in something, and I want to do that same thing. I want to add up. So can we do it?
You want to add to Myra's?
Myra's some startup she has taken up.
Yeah.
And she was working, but I think that her startup or her product, whatever idea was there, some changes I can make.
Okay.
Or I can start up with it. So is it possible that I can take her, or I have what the protocol is there?
So if you're collaborating with her, then
Yes.
it's fine.
Yes, sir.
But if you're planning to take her product and
An
build up
idea
for
little.
our idea, there is something called IPR,
Okay.
basically patent rights. So it depends on whether she's how far in the legal
Okay.
Okay.
journey is she regarding her product.
Okay.
In
yes.
case she's not filed for a patent, then maybe there is a possibility where you can
So
move
in
on
YouTube
ahead.
also, sir, these days YouTube पे जब हम कोई भी गाना कहीं से रिलेट है तो उसमें भी एक मैसेज
Copyright
आता है,
का
copyright
है।
का।
Copyright का।
तो ये मैसेज स्पेशली उन यंगस्टर्स के लिए कि ये ना सोचे कि अच्छा यहाँ से आइडिया लिया उसको थोड़ा कॉपी पेस्ट किया और हम अपना स्टार्टअप कर लिए, तो ये पॉसिबल नहीं है। यस मैम।
My question to you is that you've had a very wide-ranging experience with different institutions and different kind of students. What do you have to say about students leveraging their academic experiences in unconventional backgrounds now? Because not everyone sticks to the conventional jobs that are being
True.
passed down generations. So, if like we have our academic leverages, what do you think? How a student should be using them?
Yes.
So today, for a student, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
You can do anything, or you can just not do anything. That is also possible. Earlier times, your ANO would agree with me. Not do ka to scope hi nahi tha, or and anything may be restricted paths hi thi, right? But the education system itself today is opening up the education policy and the way the government is going about it. You can choose from a variety of subjects,
Yes, sir.
right? Earlier they were just arts, science, commerce,
yes.
and usme bhi med, non-med. That was it. But today everything is possible, and the world today needs not just technically sound or on paper qualified people. They need people who are culturally adaptable to their organizational vision, to their aims. So even if you are aligned to their objectives with a little bit of obviously knowledge about how to go about your work, the people today, those people are the ones who are actually being chosen to get hired, rather than people who are just good on paper but are not able to align
So it's
themselves.
about your smartness and your skills rather than
It's about your skills, your adaptability, how you can, because you may join a particular firm for a particular appointment or a designation, and then your role may change or your project may change, and the project as per the client's needs may be totally different from what you worked on earlier. But can you adapt to this change? If you can, you are a hero.
Yes.
That's how.
Sir, since you are engaged with the students and more professionals also, so my next question to you is, कभी ऐसा आपके साथ मौका हुआ हो कि जब आप उनके साथ रूबरू हो रहे हैं, बातचीत कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने ऐसा कोई क्वेश्चन आपके सामने रख दिया हो जो बिहाइंड द सीन आपको लग रहा हो, ओहो इस क्वेश्चन का मैं आंसर क्या दूंगा, या कोई ऐसी कोई बात हो आपको बहुत हार्ड लगा हो उसका आंसर देने में, मतलब उसको मतलब उनको जस्टिफाई करने में, कभी सेशंस में या कभी ऐसी एक्टिविटीज में कभी ऐसा कुछ हुआ है विद लाइक टेड टॉक्स आल्सो, या फिर आईआईएम्स में या कहीं पे भी आप जब जाते हैं तो?
एक दो बार ऐसा हुआ है wherein somebody has asked me to convince their father.
Okay.
And it becomes difficult because
Yes.
that student in IIM is there for a particular course and then
Yes.
says, sir, what do I tell my father? Can you tell me? Can you help me?
Yes.
I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So it becomes very difficult for me, in front of an audience, especially कि
Yes.
अभी मैं उनके father के लिए क्या points दूँ?
Yes.
So because I don't know the dynamics at home,
Correct.
आपके और आपके father की बीच की equation वो आप ही जानते हैं, and that relation I cannot get into, your personal space.
Very true. Very true. And sir, it
so-
happens in school also. जब students आते हैं, they interact with the teachers and all. They said, "Ma'am, please यही बात बस parents को जाके समझा दो." So I think it is everywhere whenever you are interacting with
Yes.
students or professionals. So
Yes.
anything more you want to ask, Myra?
No, sir, I think I've had a very good, clear view of your experiences and how what you have to say to students,
you, Myra.
especially. Yeah.
I hope I have been able to generate some kind of positivity
Yes, sir.
in
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Very
And,
true. And I think all our listeners and viewers, those who are watching and looking the whole series of our today, I think you must have got so many tips and bits जो आपको बहुत हेल्प करेंगे और जो दोनों लाइफ्स के बारे में जो सर ने बहुत अच्छा कंट्रास्ट बैठाया है कि दिखाया उन्होंने कैसे और वो सब चीज आपकी लाइफ से भी कैसे जुड़े हुए हैं. So keep watching our series. See you in the next series with some new ideas. Till then, Jai Hind.